Um, so today I am presenting you about normal forms. Now let's check about normal forms. Introduction to normal forms in DBMS. Database is a storage for the structured collection of data. These data can be accessed and manipulated across various locations within the database. The wide range of storage leads to the problem of data redundancy, wherein a piece of the same data information is stored or replicated in multiple locations within the database. Database with redundancy is at disadvantage WRT to its storage, consistency, and data manipulation. One of the techniques used to eliminate the issues of data redundancy within a given database is normalization. What are normal forms in DBMS? Before understanding the normal forms, it is necessary to understand functional dependency. A functional dependency defines the relationship between two attributes, typically between a prime attribute and non-prime attribute. If for a table X containing attribute A and B, among which the attribute A is primary key, then the functional dependency is defined as its example for function dependency. Employee name, contacts, and address depends on employee ID. Given an employee ID, we can get the information on the employee details corresponding to the employee ID. Now let's move on to first normal form. It is step 1 in the normalization procedure and is considered as the most basic prerequisite to get started with the data tables in the database. If a table in a database is not capable of forming a first normal form, then the database design is considered to be poor. First normal form propose a scalable table design that can be extended easily in order to make the data retrieval process much simpler. For a table in its first normal form, data atomicity is maintained. The data present in each attribute of a table cannot contain more than one value. For each set of related data, a table is created and the data set values in each is identified by primary key applicable to the data set. This is an example of first normal form. The multiple values from employee contact made atomic based on the employee ID to satisfy the first normal form. Second normal form. The basic prerequisite for second normal form is the table should be in its first normal form. The table should not have any partial dependency. What is a partial dependency? It is a type of functional dependency that occurs when non-prime attributes are partially dependent on part of the case. This is an example for second normal form. In the employee table, if manager details are to be fetched for an employee, multiple results are returned when searched with the employee ID. In order to fetch one result, employee ID and project ID together are considered as the candidate key because they are primary key in different table. Here the manager depends on project ID and not on employee ID. This creates a partial dependency. There are multiple ways to eliminate this partial dependency and reduce the table to its second normal form. One such method is adding the manager information to the project table. This is after second normal form. Now let's move on to final normal form. Third normal form ensure referential integrity, reduce the duplication of data, reduce data anomaly, and makes the data model more informative. The basic prerequisite for third normal form is the table should be in its second normal form and the table should not have any transitive dependency. What is a transitive dependency? It occurs due to an indirect relationship within the attributes when a non-prime attribute has a functional dependency on a prime attribute. Example before third normal form. For the table, the performance score depends on both employee and project that he is associated, but the last column hike depends on performance score. The hike changes with performance, and here the attribute performance score is not primary key. This forms a transitive dependency. To eliminate transitive dependency, create and to satisfy the third normal form, the table is broken. This is what happens after third normal form. Now we have reached into the conclusion. It is very crucial to ensure that the data stored in the database is meaningful and the chances of anomalies are minimal to zero. Normalization helps in reducing the data redundancy and help make the data more meaningful. Normalization follows the principle of divide and rule, wherein the tables are divided in until a point where the data present it makes actual sense. It is also important to note that normalization does not fully eliminate the data redundancy, but rather its goal is to minimize the data redundancy and the problem associated with it. Thank you.